Thanks for being here. We always appreciate it when you spend a little bit of time with us, and we love to tell you about different things that are happening around the area. Wendy Hendricks is here. Wendy, say hi.
Hello.
She's a Princeton Tiger. You guys know that now. Wendy and I went to school together in Princeton, but we love to call the St. Cloud and Central Minnesota area home now. We've both lived here for a long time. She's lived here a lot longer than I. And we reconnected over what we're talking about today, actually, FACT, which is feeding area children together. Lorraine Ross is joining me from the SBDC. Thank you for joining me. How are you?
I am good. I sent Barry down to Buffalo to talk about money.
Money, good.
Yes,
That's
talk
what
about
he's
money.
supposed to do.
That's right.
And then we have some fantastic guests who are helping us today, who are with Feeding Area Children Together. We got Sara and Helen sharing a mic, might I add. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you for having us.
So, Wendy, how did you get in touch with Sara and Helen with Feeding Area Children? FACT.
Well, I'll have to make this short because it's a long story, but Helen's stepdad, Steve Kochman, was a very good friend of mine. We were in St. Cloud chamber leadership together. And unfortunately, he passed away from colon cancer. How long ago was that now?
I believe almost 6 years. I believe almost 6 years.
Yeah.
But what I wrote to is, so Helen reached out to me when they were kind of still starting and growing FACT. And I have goosebumps now, and hopefully I won't cry.
Yeah.
Because it's very special to me because I always feel like Steve is leading us and here with us. And he would be so proud of Helen for what she's doing because, and I have goosebumps talking about it, because he was passionate about community. And Helen and Sara, their story is so inspiring. So they asked me to come to a meeting to help with marketing, and then I became chair of the board.
Oh, wow. Oh, this is great. Well, I do want them to tell the story. And I was listening to the story again today because we had talked about it about a year ago, and I was like, oh, gosh, this is so touching. Whose child was it that recognized what was happening at school? Sara?
Yeah, that was my son.
So tell us that story.
Yeah, he was a kindergartner at the time, and he asked me at the dinner table if taking food from the garbage can is stealing. And at first, I didn't really know what to make of that conversation, and we talked about it a little bit more, and he started to tell me about what was going on in his school, that he had seen a child in the cafeteria take food from the garbage can. The child was told to put the food back, and the child became very emotional at that time. So we started really going on and on about food insecurity and what it looked like, and my kids were educating me at that point.
And that child was taking food out of the garbage to bring home to his siblings because they don't have food on the weekends.
Right. Yeah. He was concerned about his younger siblings at home. The kids at school, they know that they can count on breakfast and lunch at school, but their younger siblings can't. And on the weekend, a lot of times it's not there and not available as well. So at the time, my second grader asked me, what are we going to do about this?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that really sat on my heart. I was 7 months pregnant at the time, so it wasn't great timing, but there is never a good time for something like this to take action. And so, I called up Helen and a couple of other parents at the school, and I threw it on them, to be quite honest. I said, what are we going to do about this?
You use your child's words. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, wow. It's pretty amazing. And Helen, so you're like, okay, she's right, or her child is right. We do have to do something. Who started FACT?
So it was definitely a combination of the 4 parents, the 3 that she reached out to.
Okay. Y'all were you guys friends, or did you just know each other through school?
We kind of just knew each other from school. Our kids were friends, closer friends than we were at that time. And what a way to unify some parents together.
I was going to say, there must have been something special about the parents that you reached out to that you thought, I think these particular people are going to have a soft spot in their heart and realize, oh my gosh, this is a problem. Because who realized this was a problem? When I read that horrified me to think that a child is going, no, my siblings at home are so hungry. And no one's going to eat that food that's in the garbage can. I think I'll take that. Maybe that will be, it's sweet. It was like a heroic act. And then to be able to be told to put it back had to be hard. And I'm hoping that family also was, helped by this, because I'm sure it takes some time to get something like this in place.
And I had no idea. I'm very involved in the business community, and that's why I've really enjoyed working with FACT as well, because I had no idea this issue. What you have the percentages of the schools, what the need is in the schools. What are some of the percentages as far as the numbers that you're serving?
Well, the biggest number that we're concerned about really is that in central Minnesota, 1 in every 5 children don't know where their next meal will come from. And that's kind of across the board in central Minnesota. And that's a real big problem.
That's a big number. That's
not
number.
Okay.
It is. Yeah.
It's definitely not okay for us to be able to go home on the weekends and, my kids won't even eat the leftovers. To think about that, it kind of makes me angry. They're adult kids. Okay, so now let's talk about FACT. Lorraine, how did this all come into place for you? Did they work with you to put FACT together or no?
No, they didn't.
They're such superstars. They just did it.
And they know Barry.
And they know Barry?
And they know Barry.
Maybe they knew some of Barry's tips and tricks just by knowing them. I don't know.
I think now it's wonderful they've connected here today. And this is the first time that as you grow, maybe the SBDC can help with, they're just so helpful as you grow. Because I think they just dove in and did it. And then during COVID, I was on the board during that time.
Well, that's my next big question.
Incredibly challenging. And, the FACT has survived and thrived through that. So,
and then my concern is, okay, we've had the school years and you've been up and running and you've been helping a lot of families, but here comes summer vacation. What happens then?
Yeah. So really when COVID hit, to kind of take a step back, we really had to pivot because we feed through schools and our kids know that they can depend on their school to take care of them in that way. So when COVID hit, we really assembled all the volunteers we could, and we were delivering right to homes.
Oh my.
And sometimes kids aren't found in homes. Sometimes they're in transitional living. Sometimes people are living in their cars. We found them wherever we could find them, and we delivered meals to them. So it really changed the way FACT operated during COVID. And now we're so glad to be back in schools and to be feeding our kids back that way as well.
Goodness.
And all the PACs had to stop. The groups and businesses and churches could have events, which we can talk about that, how people can do that.
Yeah, you do have something coming up too, right, that we can help with?
All that stopped. So complete pivot.
Okay. So now, so we do have summer vacation, right? What happens during that? Is there another organization that helps out during this time or?
So our pantries are still active for the summer, and our families can access them that way because kids are home with their families. So FACT Packs, which is our main program, feeds kids individually, but pantries feed kids and their families too. So there's that access. But central Minnesota is pretty blessed with a lot of summer feeding programs as there is. So other organizations in the area do a great job with hot meals in the area. And we find that our kiddos are really doing okay primarily in the summer, and they're really struggling again when it comes back to school and the weather gets colder and they're missing those weekend meals.
Okay, but that's good to know. So you guys fill in when you know that they're needing them and they're covered on the weekends. And gosh, this is a program that I hope spreads throughout the state. Other people need to implement something like this because if it's happening here, we know what's happening other places as well.
Absolutely.
So how did you tackle that though? I mean, so that's great that the four parents or so all said, what are we going to do about this? But what was your first step?
Yeah, so our first step was to figure out how big of a problem is this? What are we facing? So we really met together at Starbucks, our kids running around us, and we looked at the statistics, and we best educated ourselves and armed us with what we were dealing with and what we could tackle at that point. And then our first step was to go to other nonprofits, churches and that kind of stuff, tell them what the issue was and ask them to feed our kids. We weren't really expecting the answer. A lot of them came back and said, we know that this is an issue, but the funds aren't there and they're probably not going to come, and this issue is too big. And we sat together and we said, okay, the problem is too big, but we're 3 moms and a dad. If anybody can feed kids, we can feed kids.
Yeah.
And so our business plan really was a failure plan. We figured we'd feed a few kids and see how it goes. But the money came in, and when we launched, we were planning to launch for just about 5 kids in one school. We launched with 50 kids in one school, and now we're feeding over 500 kids a week.
Amazing.
500 kids a week.
It's got to take a volunteer crew to help you put these meals together, right? Do you have
Absolutely.
volunteers?
We do. We actually, this year we've had about 300 volunteers so far come in consistently to work with us.
Is it like a once a month thing where you all get together and pack things, or is it once a week?
It all depends on availability of our volunteers. We do about 3 to 4 pack events a month.
Okay.
So we'll have businesses, other organizations, or individuals come in to pack 410 bags for each pack event, which takes about an hour, hour and a half.
It's amazing how fast it goes.
And so is it area businesses that are donating the funds so you can then find the food sources that you need to, hopefully in bulk, that you can put all these together?
Yeah, so we have a lot of variety in our funding. We get a lot of individual donors, local businesses who have consistently supported us from the beginning, as well as a lot of grants that have been funding this program.
And
That's
Helen has
amazing.
been working on grants. And, so there's a lot too behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But they are so passionate.
Finding
about
grants
this.
has got to be difficult, right? How do you find a grant for something like that? That's got to take
Yeah, Lorraine,
so much
you know all
research.
about that. and
Right?
maybe, hopefully, something will come of this too.
I mean,
'cause
here's the thing:
you know,
there's a lot of grants, and you always hear there's a lot of grants for different things. But how in the world you find them? That's the hard part.
They're hard to get.
Yes,
Yeah.
a lot
yeah,
of
to rate 'em.
Google researching. We're involved in a couple different nonprofit organizations that put out like books and lists of grants that we can apply for.
Okay.
So yeah, it is a little challenging, but you get the hang of it over time.
After a while, yeah. So I'm assuming if people want to volunteer, if they would like to donate, or if they would like to if they don't have the funds, but they'd like to be a volunteer and
Or a
help.
business that wants to
Yeah.
pack.
How does anybody get involved with FACT? I know it's FACT. What is the website? It's different. It's FACT.
So it's stcloudfact.org.
There we go. stcloudfact.org. I knew it wasn't just FACT. stcloudfact.org is where they can find information on how to volunteer, how to make a donation, all those different kinds of things.
Yep, or just a simple phone call or an email too. We love chatting with local community members.
Do you get together, the same 4 parents? Do you still get together and think of other things that are coming up? Are you working on new things, new challenges?
So actually, of the original 4 founders, we are the 2 who are still in it deep,
Yeah.
day to day. One of our founders actually moved to Florida.
Oh, wow. Well, that would be
Yeah.
hard to work from
I
Florida.
know, but at least they get the sunshine.
He can start it there.
Yes, and then another one of our founders ended up taking a full-time job.
Okay, well, you can't blame them for that.
No,
for sure.
you can't.
But it's still a lot on your table and a lot of work to do. So thank you to your child, first of all, for being such a brave soul and saying, Mom, we got to do something. And for you listening. I mean, what a lesson for him to go, I talked to my parent and we did something big. I mean, does he realize the effect that's had on the community? Does he realize what's happened?
He lives FACT every single day. I mean, I don't think there's a dinner that we have that we don't talk about what's going on at FACT. And I think he's pretty proud of that. But one of the things that we're really proud of is that the impact that FACT has on the kids it serves. So before COVID, there was that the polar vortex that was coming through. And we got a notice that school was going to be let out early and be out for the weekend from the school district. And they asked us to pump out bags as fast as we could so that kids will be taken care of. And I was in the hallway putting backpacks in backpacks. And I came across a little boy who I can recognize. He's always in the hall. And I started to call him my little buddy over the past couple of weeks. And he said to me, I have some good news for you. And I stopped and I said, what's your good news? And he said that his mom got a new job and they would be shopping at the grocery store pretty soon. So I said, oh, buddy, I'm so happy for you. And he stopped and he looked at me kind of weird and he said, that's not my good news. And I said, oh, okay, what's your good news? And he said, pretty soon you can give my fact pack to somebody else. So really, we're teaching not just my little guy and not just Helen's kids as well, but we're teaching kids that we're serving what it means to serve and take care of others.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna cry. I need to leave
I
now.
have goosebumps.
And just to add to that too, when I said our pack events, they pack a little over 400 bags. Part of that is too, while we serve 510 students approximately every week, we even have a school locally who packs all their own packs with their students because they want that involvement.
That is such a good idea. I guess before you go, we've just got 2 or 3 more minutes. When is your next event? How can people help if they want to jump in? I mean, we can go to the website.
Yes, we have a
but when
big
is it?
one.
So our next event is actually this Saturday, and it's a fun social event at Pound Town Brewing.
Oh.
So this Saturday, May 21st, from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m., Thrivent and Pantown are both hosting it for us. So for every beer purchase, we get $1 back to Fact. And we have fun activities such as cornhole or beanbag toss. People call it 2 different things here.
Yeah.
We have a food truck, we have a fun bead game, and a silent auction.
Okay.
The 1 to 4 at Pantown.
Yeah, so
Pantown.
come join us for some fun.
Twist my arm. It's going to be so hard to
We
go have
better
a
see
beer.
you there.
And I think, we've been featuring local businesses, and I think this is the first nonprofit we've talked
It
about.
could be.
But the larger theme here is just about community and that we all are part of the community. And what you have done is just, they don't even realize it because, I mean, it's just so incredible.
Yeah.
So, and the community has been so supportive. The business
Big
Absolutely.
heroes in a small town. That's kind of what I feel like. The unsung heroes, they're not looking for it. But I mean, wow, I just so appreciate that you guys recognized what was happening and worked together.
All the
Thank
money
you.
goes directly here. Sometimes when you donate to these larger organizations, who knows where it all goes? Every penny stays here.
Right. And is spent in the right places. Thank you both so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks
Thank
for
you.
having us.
Sarah and Helen and Lorraine and Wendy all here today. Fact, feeding area children together. If you'd like to learn more, you can actually go to WJ1.com. There is a story there. There's a video about it. There is a link to their website. And if you want to enjoy, well, it's going to be hard to enjoy some cold brew on Saturday from 1 to 4 at Pantown. But if you can force yourself to go over there, you'll be helping out a lot as well.